Rev your engines and fasten your seatbelts. It's time for Thunder Talk with Dan Bailey, keeping you up to date on everything going on this season at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Thunder Talk is powered by Arcadia Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Now, here's your host, Dan Bailey.
Hey race fans, welcome to another edition of Thunder Talk on the Winona Sports Network, 99.3 FM, and streaming live on WinonaRadio.com. I'm Dan Bailey. Hey, for those of you who are listening via the radio broadcast, don't forget that you can find the interview that you're about to hear in its entirety, unedited, on YouTube. All you need to do is search for Thunder Talk with Dan Bailey. For those of you who are listening via the YouTube stream, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, click the bell so that you're notified of future interviews as well. This week at Mississippi Thunder Speedway is the 4th annual Karl Fenske Memorial, and joining us on this week's edition of Thunder Talk is former two-time winner of this particular event and two-time track champion at Mississippi Thunder Speedway, Lucas Schott, driver of the number 69 USRA Modified. Lucas, first of all, welcome to Thunder Talk. Thanks for joining us this week.
Well, thanks for having me.
You know, I mentioned that you've got a couple of track championships, of course, two-time USRA Modified national champion. Your career was one that just seems like you kind of burst onto the scene even as you were getting started, you know, coming up through the ranks. Right away, you found success with the Modified, and you've enjoyed a stellar career with well over 50, 60 modified feature wins. You know, you're a well-established modified racer. Does it still bring you as much joy and as much fun as it did when you were first getting started just a few years ago?
Yeah, I definitely think it's, still fun and still enjoy doing it. You know, life just keeps getting busier. Once you get out of school, you got to get a job, and then now we got a wife and 2 kids. It just keeps getting busier and busier, and not that it gets harder to focus on it, but just got to find time for it. And, it helps that the wife enjoys it, so we all get to come do it as a family, and still had the same fun.
This Friday night at Mississippi Thunder Speedway is the 4th annual Karl Fenske Memorial, a very gifted racer that we lost a couple of years ago. And as I mentioned, you're by no means are you an old racer, but yet you've enjoyed a lot of success. Do you feel like when you roll into the pits, now some of the younger guys who are maybe just getting started in the modified ranks kind of look to you as one of those guys who they can bounce some questions off? You've been there, you've done that. You feel like others are looking at you as one of those quote-unquote elder statesmen, even though you're a young racer?
Yeah, I think so. I've definitely been, around it a long time. I think, what is this, my 9th or 10th year in a modified. So, them young guys coming up like JT Wasman and Jim Chisholm and stuff, and Dustin Thornton. There's a lot of young talent that we used to race with in the slingshot ranks that are now coming up. But, they're no slouches either. Sometimes I'm looking up to them, but, as them guys were younger, they were looking up to guys like me and Jake Jim and, Jacob and Parker. We were all kind of in that slingshot ranks together, so it's just crazy how time flies. It's, like I said, 10th or 11th year in a modified, and I feel like I've been doing it forever, but, like I said, I'm only 26, going on 27, so I could have a long time left.
You going to keep at this as long as you can?
We'll see. For now, yes. There's no plan to slow down yet. But like I said, life gets busier. But we got some things in the works, and we're going to try to hit it a little bit harder next year, and hopefully for a lot more years to come. But yeah, I definitely don't see a slowdown in the near future.
I'd mentioned earlier that it's the Karl Fenske Memorial, and Karl was one of those guys who enjoyed a lot of success, regardless of what type of car or what division he was racing in, and others both on the track and in the grandstands looked up to him. How about you? When you were younger, even when you were just in the slingshot, or even before you were driving slingshots, who did you look up to? Who was your, what racer did you really love to follow when you were just a fan, just kind of watching the racing action?
I used to go to the races, and in that time, it was Tim Domier, Tommy Meyer, Mike Sorensen, Jay Erke. They were all kind of the local, hot shoes, and we knew Mike Sorensen, a little bit closer. We just lived pretty close to him and always been good friends with him. So I think my dad used to sponsor him and Jay Erke. So those are the kind of the two that you look up to, and pulled for them a little bit harder than some. But back in the USMTS days, it was Tommy Meyer and Tim Dominger and guys like that were local, and they were really good, and winning races and championships. So I didn't really get to know or watch Karl race too much. He used to text me, after a few wins here and there, Facebook and stuff, and congratulate me. So that was pretty cool. And so it's been cool to win, 2 of his races now, and adds a little meaning to it.
So how about your 2023 plans? First things first, have there been any major changes for your race team, whether it's the car, chassis, engine, power, anything like that from 2022 to 2023? Any big changes for you?
we started the year not with any changes, but we haven't really let the cat out of the bag yet, but I guess we'll do it here. Craig Shaw is letting me race his Longhorn chassis. He wants me to kind of get it dialed in for him and see what we can do with it. So we'll be in a Longhorn chassis, and for at least a couple weeks, we'll see how it goes, and hopefully it leads to more, and we can keep racing his car for him, and it could be a really cool thing. But for now, we're just going to see how it goes, take it night by night, and kind of excited to join the Longhorn team and see what relationships we can build there and see what the future holds.
So we're actually recording this interview late Wednesday evening, and you told me, you said, I'm not going to be available until pretty late on Wednesday because I'm going to practice. So is that what you're practicing? Is this new car, this new chassis?
Yeah, we just wanted to come down and get some laps in it. Mason City had a practice tonight, so we ran down here and thought we'd put some laps in it before we bring it out to Fountain City just to see what we got. And car felt good, so, Fountain City is a different animal, so hopefully we got things dialed in and we can have just a good of a shot. So
was Wednesday night practice your first time in the car? Was this the first time you'd been able to actually turn some laps with it, or have you been able to pilot one before?
No, this was the first time in it. We just picked it up a couple days ago and got it back to the shop and just kind of went through a few things and changed a few things that I think would fit my driving style a little bit better. So we got that changed around and went out and practiced. We felt pretty good, but it's hard to tell. It's practice. You always look just as fast as everyone else. So Friday will be the real test.
Did it feel very different to you to be piloting this new chassis, this Longhorn chassis, or were you able to adapt to it quickly and comfortably? I
think we adapted pretty good. You just made a few minor changes, nothing too dramatic, I guess, but definitely a lot different feel, just the way the car feels on the track, gets into the track, stuff like that definitely is a lot different from what I'm used to. So not that that's nerve-wracking, sometimes change is good, change can make you better, but it's kind of sad too because we've been pretty fast in our Mullins cars. So well, hopefully this one, we can make a few more changes at Fountain City and get it dialed in pretty quick.
You had just mentioned the chassis that you have been piloting, the Mullins chassis. How long have you been using that chassis? When was the most recent chassis change for you?
So we just got that chassis in 2022, so that was new last year. Our plan was to race that all year and get a new car from Tanner, but we'll just see where this takes us. We might still get it so we can have a backup car, and Tanner's been really good to me, so we'll do anything we can to not burn that relationship. But yeah, they definitely have a different feel, and like I said, we just picked this up, so we're just kind of got tossed to the wolves, I guess. But hopefully it goes good.
Wow, late breaking news, hot off the presses from Lucas Schott Racing. A big chassis change for now, piloting a Longhorn. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. We're honored to be able to inform the racing public about that. So what about your 2023 season after we talk about the chassis change? What are your plans for this year? Whereabouts do you think you'll be traveling? What events do you think you'll be hitting?
Yeah, we won't be doing a ton of traveling right away this early summer. Our hauler situation, we sold our toter and stuff and downsized a little bit, and we're trying to buy a different rig at some point this summer when it becomes available. So we're just kind of sticking around home for now. We'll be at some weekly shows more often, Fountain City, Deer Creek, maybe Mason City. But other than that, USMTS that are close in town, like Memorial Day coming up at Deer Creek, and hopefully I always like going up to Ogilvie, bouncing around. Whenever they're close in town, we'll come race with them. But if not, we'll be at Fountain City and Deer Creek on a weekly night.
I remember when I had you on the Thunder Talk program several years ago. It may have been as far back as 2017, 2018, when you were really, chasing the USMTS series. And you kind of caught me off guard because you said a lot of race fans watch drivers travel these series and think it's just awesome. And you said it's not as glamorous as you might think, and sometimes it can kind of wear a person thin. Was it just a little too much for you, all that traveling? Did it wear you down a little bit, or was it just like you said earlier, was just life is changing and you're sticking around home a little more these days?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Just with the growing family, that takes a toll on it. Mm-hmm. But also, we work full time. We work 8 to 5, 8 to 6 every day, and then we come home and we work in the shop till 10, 11 o'clock every night. And it does wear you down. And if you can't focus on racing 100% when you're on the road, then sometimes it just isn't meant to be, or you lose focus a little bit when you got to come back to work and, parts aren't getting ordered and stuff's not getting fixed right. And that part of it is probably the toughest. If I could just do it, 100% and that's it, just race, nothing else, then it becomes your job and you're focused on that. But yeah, it definitely takes a toll on you when you're, trying to focus on three things: a job, racing, and a family. So they can wear you out.
And what about supporters for Schott Racing for the 2023 year? Sponsors, helpers, etc.?
Yeah, so we got, obviously, Craig Shaw now. Got to thank him for the opportunity to drive his car. And Vern Paulson's been really good to us. Stone Race Engines, Schott Rubber Floors, Dynamic Drivelines, Swift Springs, Allen Concrete, TNT Marine, Neighbors Pub, O'Brien's Pub, Farrier Farms, S&A Petroleum, Mullins Race Cars, Schleich Painting. We got so many people that help us, and we got a lot of good, local help that helps us out and gets us down the road, so we can thank them enough.
It is indeed a great list of supporters that you have. Well, Lucas, I appreciate you taking some time out of a busy midweek testing session to join us to record this edition of Thunder Talk. Best of luck this Friday evening during the 4th annual Karl Fenske Memorial, and best of luck through the entire 2023 season. We all wish you the best in life, happiness, and racing.
I appreciate it. We'll see you Friday.
Lucas Schott, driver the number 69. He will be at Mississippi Thunder Speedway for the 4th annual Karl Fenske Memorial. He gave us some late-breaking news about a chassis change. I'll give you some late-breaking news about the payouts for the Karl Fenske Memorial. As of Wednesday night, extra money coming in. The modifieds will be racing for at least $3,099 to win, $1,199 to finish second. You see a theme here, everything ending in 99, because that's what Karl Fenske was known for, piloting car number 99. The other 4 weekly classes will also be racing for a little extra money. $599 to win for the USRA late models, $599 to win for the USRA stock cars, $499 to win for the USRA B mods, and $399 to win for USRA hobby stocks. And more money, I'm sure, has been added since the recording of this program. Hope to see you at Mississippi Thunder Speedway for the 4th annual Karl Fenske Memorial. You can get all the details online by following Mississippi Thunder Speedway's social media efforts, or check out the website, MississippiThunder.com.
That was Thunder Talk, keeping you up to date on everything going on at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Thunder Talk is powered by Arcadia Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram.
You ever notice that when you're on a fishing trip, you drive your boat all the way to the other side of the lake because you think that's where the best fishing is? And the people staying at the cabins on that side of the lake, well, they come and fish where your cabin is. You don't have to drive a long ways to catch the big fish. And at Arcadia Motors, you don't have to drive a long ways to get the best deal on a new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram truck. The best deals are right in the bay next to your cabin. Take the short, scenic drive to Arcadia Motors. ArcadiaDodge.com.